Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about when is the right time to put your youngster into a club program. So, more than likely you live in an area where you've got some clubs available, some soccer clubs, some football clubs and whatnot, and you're considering potentially putting your youngster into a program. Maybe they've expressed interest, maybe you yourself are like, hey kiddo, are you interested in joining a club? Regardless of where you are in that journey, you want to make sure you're evaluating some very key points ahead of making a decision. First and foremost, I would encourage you, make sure it's your young one, your athlete that is leading the charge on the final decision. You want them to be interested way before you are. I get it. Sometimes it's easy to be that parent like, hey kid, you want to go join a club? You want to join a soccer club? Pump the brakes a little bit. Excitement is one thing, but you don't want to get your kid out there and then a month later or 2 months later, they're like, hey mom, hey dad, I don't like this program. I don't want to do it anymore. And now you're frustrated. You've already spent money and 2 months have gone by. And now you're either having to shop for another program or you're just pulling them out altogether. So make sure that before that final decision is made, that your child owns that decision. Also, can your family accommodate it? Some clubs, they travel a lot. Some clubs, they travel not so often. Can the rest of your family accommodate that kind of schedule? You're talking about going out of town, you might be going out of state, hotel stays, all these different things. And those are just travel costs. That doesn't even include your cost that comes with, say, your jerseys, your gear, different things like that. So be cognizant of those types of things when you're considering joining a club. You need to also research, investigate, and gather feedback on any potential club that you are looking at for your youngster. I live in an area that has multiple clubs and they're good clubs. What I have found through my own experience in working with some of them is that some seem to do well with a type of family dynamic, whereas others seem to do better with other family dynamics. Is this club a good fit for you and your family culturally? Are you the kind of parent who's content to drop your kid off and go sit in your car while the coach instructs them? Or are you willing to be on the field, maybe even more hands on or not? Because you need to keep in mind, certain coaches will allow that, and certain coaches will say, hey, I need you off the field. So make sure that it's a good cultural fit for you and your family. Can your young one handle being scolded? Right? If they're not doing something properly, or if they need a bit more of a push, are they going to be comfortable getting scolded? And I know that could be a tough one for some parents, some kids and whatnot. These are the kinds of things that you as a parent need to be cognizant of before you make that leap. Let's get right down to it as well. Costs. These clubs are not going to be cheap, right? In addition to enrollment fee, you've got kits, and as I mentioned earlier, you've got travel and different things like that. So keep that in mind also. Does that fit your budget? Gather feedback on clubs. Go online. Hey, what are others saying on social media platforms? What are they saying about the program? Is it well run? Are they dropping the ball somewhere? Learn and find out as much as you can about a specific program that you and your youngster, you and your family are evaluating to potentially enroll your kid. And then also, I would encourage you talk to your kid's potential future coach, talk to the head of the program if you get a chance, and really get a feel again for what I mentioned when I said that cultural piece. You want to make sure that this is going to be a solid commitment, because I don't want you to put your kid in a program 2 months later, 3 months later, your kid's coming home, maybe they're bawling, or maybe they're like, I'm not crazy about my coach or other kids on the team. You name it. I've seen it. I've seen it. Maybe you've lived through it, or maybe you're seriously considering, how do I go about finding the right club? And I want to make sure that you are saved from these types of things. So the main things you want to keep in mind, first and foremost, will this fit the schedule of of the rest of your family? Is this a decision that you're driving, or is it a decision that you're making sure your young athlete is driving? Make sure they own it. That way, it's an easier pill to swallow if down the road they regret it, because then they can come back and say, oh, mommy, dad, I wanted to join a club, but maybe I'm not ready. And that's an easier pill to swallow as opposed to you getting overly worked up and overly excited for them, and now they kind of show up just because they want to appease you. So make them own the decision in the end, but let it be a family decision when it's all said and done. Make sure it works for your family. Additionally, cost. Make sure it can fit your budget. Culturally, make sure it's a good fit. Talk to the coaches, talk to the head of the programs, go online, get feedback. What are people saying? Good, bad, indifferent. Read through all of it before making that final decision. If you got multiple clubs around you, hey, go check out multiple clubs. Just because you are close to one parent who's like, hey, I love this program, that might be working for their circumstances, but you need to ensure that the club that you sign your child up for works for your child, works for your circumstances. These are some of the things I want you to keep in mind when you're talking about evaluating a club. Now, let's talk about your child. When are they ready? Oftentimes, people ask me, at what age should I be looking to put my kid into a club? And I say, well, it just varies. If your kid is grasping the basics and they're also open to the idea of, hey mom, hey dad, yeah, I'm open to joining a club, or my buddy Charlie, he's in this club here. Can we talk about me joining? That's the kind of enthusiasm that you want them to lead with, because again, they're the one that's now owning that decision. Use that, go and try out these clubs. Go and again, use that as the impetus to now go and research, look into the different clubs, and talk to other parents who are in the program, get feedback from them. But circling back to my other point, make sure you're also evaluating it for a cultural fit for you and your family. If your kid is at a point where they love the game, but you're not seeing the level of development that you would like, I would say yes, consider it, but I would say also be patient, because sometimes these things, just even the basics, can take time. If I've got a younger athlete that I'm working with, more than anything, I want to build confidence on the ball. While a club program can do that, I often find that those individuals, those parents who rise to the occasion of saying, I help build my kids' confidence ahead of just kind of putting them out there to a club program, those folks are happier. You got more of a cohesive fit and different things like that, because you're preparing them and giving them more time before making the jump. So those are just some things to keep in mind. I've seen situations where parents just kind of push kids, and kids feel, oh, my mom and dad are here, so I got to show up for them and different things. And then they get frustrated because they feel like their skill level is not the same as their counterparts on the team. And even at an early age, you start to see kids kind of gang up on each other. I don't want to use the word bully, but kind of gang up on each other. So just be cognizant of those types of items. The younger, I would say, the better, because now they can get to grow in it. But frankly, there is no right or wrong age as to when you should enroll your youngster. If your youngster's in middle school and they say, hey, mom, dad, I want to go join this club, my buddies are in it, I want to go try it out, give it a shot, see what I think, go for it. If your kid's in high school, go for it. Some of the best soccer players out there didn't play soccer until college, like Hope Solo. Hope Solo didn't actually start her goalie career until she was in college. So those are just some things that you need to be cognizant of. The last point I already covered when I was talking about age, there is no right or wrong age. Get feedback if and when you do move forward with a club. You want a club that's going to give you feedback and progress reports, obviously, on how your child is doing. And at the same time, you want to make sure that you're having constant feedback with your own child. Hey, kiddo, how was practice today? What did you get out of practice today? What are your thoughts on the program so far? Make sure you have that open dialogue. And when you're talking to them, read their body language. If your child's coming home and every time you bring up soccer club, they're looking down or they're looking away from you, that's not a good sign. They need to be looking at you. You need to feel that enthusiasm come through when you're having these types of conversations. Where they fail to have enthusiasm, you know something's wrong. That's a red flag. That's something you need to investigate. Could it be, again, just a cultural misfit, or could it be something else? So I hope that kind of gives you some things, some tips that you can take back and use as you consider potentially putting your child into a club program. Club programs are amazing. They accomplish amazing things. They can lead to whether it's MLS team. I've seen this too, where kids go into MLS camps, different things of that nature. So I hope that this has helped. If it has, drop a like, drop a comment. Till next time, see you in the next video. First Kick Soccer. Bye bye now.